We got a live show coming today. I'm going to put this thing down. We're going to go live in just a second. Let me get everything straight. A lot to get into as usual. We hope that you're doing all right. And let me go ahead and get this thing straight. I got to do this again. All the people just now seeing me, I'm just coming on real quick. I want to say about this. What do I want to go with this? So I just went in where I just was talking. I got tired of this whole thing with Trump and his whole thing where he wants to mess with Smithsonian Institute and wants to act like he don't. One minute he says about what slavery, and the next minute he's got these apologists, and he's trying to like flippity flop. So I'm putting down where I says, you think America owes black people reparations for slavery? Simple as that. It's a yes or no. Um, of course, I feel they do because they wouldn't be where they are without it. You know, any institute in America has benefited off of slavery. You can't even talk about Wall Street. See, when these business and these corporations have what I call 100-year, what's up? They have 100-year head start financially. They own you. The dead presidents own that money. What's happening? What's happening? How you doing? What's happening? How you doing? Thank you for coming through. They own you. They've had a stock in you. Think about it. Slave faces on all the money and currencies before you even, spend your first note. That was documented. What's out? Azimi. I just did. I hope I said your name right. I don't even know how to say your name right. Azimi. 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 Okay. So, it's one of those things where if you know your history, Azimli? Okay. Azimli. E, E, Azimli or Azimi? Azimi. Okay. Thank you. Well, I gave you a shout out. I just, because I'm like, just don't know how to say the word properly. And you got to forgive me. This ain't Jeopardy. I don't get paid for the right saying the right way. Thank you so much for subscribing, Phoenix. I'm still learning how to say people's names correctly. Wonder where you from though, but it's a distinctive name. Wonder where you from though, but it's a distinctive name. Wonder where you from though, but it's a distinctive. Okay, Taylor, how you doing? Well, they had Stephen Nyman's on it. How you doing? Well, so you got a different name that you're using. So you got a different name that you're using. Oh, okay, okay. That's fair enough. Oh, okay, okay. That's fair enough. Depends on where you're coming from, because I know in the States, people got the government name, they got the stage name, people got the government name, they got the stage name, and they got the street name. They got the stage name, and they got the street name. And they all mean different names. Okay, cool. All right, cool. Hello, how you doing? Okay, cool. All right, cool. Hello, how you doing? I mean, at least you honest about it. Hello, how you doing? I mean, at least you honest about it. I think we'll get a 50-50 vote on this about this poll. I think we'll get a 50-50 vote. How you doing? How you doing? Thank you for coming through. How you doing? How you doing? Thank you for coming through. Where you coming from today, by the way, Taylor, where you said you're on your grandkids' account? Where you coming from today, by the way, Taylor, where you said you're on your grandkids' account? Where you coming from today, by the way, Taylor, where you said you're on your grandkids' account? I'm doing all right. Just chilling. Working on some videos. Thought I'd do some live stream. Come through. See how everybody's feeling today. See how everybody's feeling. Hello, how you doing, Miss Molly? Hello, how you doing, Miss Molly? Welcome, Calvin Jackson. Welcome, Calvin Jackson. And I'm going to go with Patrick Swayze on that one. And I'm going to go with Patrick Swayze on that one. I'm all right. I'm just in chill mode. What about yourself? Where you coming from today? I'm all right. I'm just in chill. Don Johnson was actually a decent guitar player, all right, but that song was corny. Don Johnson was actually a decent guitar player, all right, but that song was corny. I mean, Patrick Swayze's song is cheesy too, but I can tolerate that a little bit more. Patrick Swayze's song is cheesy too. But when I think about Don Johnson, heartbeat. When I think about Don Johnson, heartbeat. I had to laugh. Well, appreciate your compliments. Where you coming from today? Well, appreciate your compliments. Where you coming from today? Because you got the same name as Little Richard's song, Good Golly, Miss Molly. Because you got the same name as Little Richard's song, Good Golly, Miss Molly. Except spelled differently. Except spelled differently. We should have a pretty good day today, though. The boom is on. We should have a pretty good day today, though. The boom is on. Okay, so where you coming from? What's your story? Okay, so where you coming from? What's your story? Because somebody comes through, I always like to know. Inquiring minds want to know. Somebody comes through, I always like to know. Inquiring minds want to know. Let me put this live stream up for everybody. Stream up for everybody. Okay. You from a movie? Okay. You from a movie? Okay. My favorite character? That's a hard question. My favorite character? That's a hard question. Because I like a lot of different roles. My favorite character? That's a hard question. Because I like a lot. That's because I've been watching movies forever and a day, though. That's because I've been watching movies forever and a day, though. That's because I've been watching movies forever and a day, though. I mean, if you've been watching movies, for a long time, you got a lot of characters. Oh, the Bee Gees. If you've been watching movies for a long time, you got a lot of characters. Oh, the Bee Gees. And I do like Casey and Sunshine Band, but it's hard for me to go against the Bee Gees. Oh, I did that because I'm trying to link all my. I'm sending all my shout outs. That's all, KJ. That's all. Oh, I did that because I'm trying to link all my. I'm sending all my shout outs. That's all, KJ. That's all. It's going to be all good. It's coming back. I'm linking them so people want to come and watch, they can see. It's going to be all good. It's coming back. I'm going to do it a couple more times. Don't worry. I'm not going anywhere. Just keep writing your questions. A couple more times. Don't worry. I'm not going anywhere. Just keep writing your questions. Aqua Boogie. But I do like their version of Her Through the Grapevine, though. It was funky. It was funky. See, so far I got quite a few views in, so that's why I'm trying to keep the heat going. So don't be alarmed. It's just me doing business. Okay, I'm back now. I think you talking about yourself. I think you talking about yourself. I'm not no preppy grandpa now. I ain't no grandpa's grandpa. I'm a grown man, you know. And if you on the wrong site, you need to go somewhere else, though. You know, people crack me up how they identify you and they don't even know you. Anyway, this question is going to be very, I guess some people are going to look at it divided. I don't care. It's a very telling topic because that's why Trump is making a point of where he's trying to be divisive. Come on now, you know better than this one. You and I in a blowout. What's up? Thank you for coming. Come on now. And I like Charlie Singleton too, and he just had a birthday, but it ain't seen no You and I as a classic. And I might play the song later when I'm on my walk, but it's not up for discussion. It's not for discussion. Charlene in the house. Got a lot of votes out here though. Which I like. Because Trump's always they're trying to put a push button top. They know what they do. I saw what she said. I already did a video about it. She's lying. I called cap on her. She doesn't talk about. She doesn't talk about Jim Crowism. She doesn't talk about the 60s with the Civil Rights Act. She doesn't talk about the voting rights. She doesn't talk about interracial marriages. There's a lot of stuff she don't talk about. She doesn't talk about how the one black president, one female African American, 3 Supreme Court justices. How we still have black first. She doesn't talk about that. I can go on technical. Wham for the W. And I do like and this is a trip out thing too, because The interesting thing is Spando True is one of my like I love that song, but Careless Whisper is like another level. So it's a good debate. So that's one of them times when you got two songs that, but it's just that one's got a little bit more juice though. One's got more juice. That's what it comes down to. So she's lying, and I don't know why you would quote her. I've already done a video about her, and other black folks then corrected her. She's ignorant. I know she has a black child. That doesn't mean anything. That don't mean nothing. That's how will I answer? Don't get me started on that. She is giving misquoted information. All the laws that were created in America under the Constitution were used by slave masters to control, and then they made the laws against black people. Let me give an example of why she's an ignorant, racist, jive turkey redder. Jack Johnson, the boxer, who more than a field in Boston, who was pardoned by Donald Trump in 2017. There's the Mann Act, which is considered white slavery, where you can't transport people across state lines, etc., because that's what he was accused of doing when he was with the white women he was with and his wives, etc. It's still an act that's what Diddy got charged with. That's what R. Kelly got charged with. That's what they actually still charge people. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. So she doesn't know the half of what she's talking about, because a lot of the laws that are on the book were a reflection of slavery and still imposed to this day. And the Mann Act for a guy who got pardoned. Now make that logic. Who gets pardoned in the very country that they have an act against? Meanwhile, Jack Johnson was never criminal, but they used it as an act, the Jack Johnson Act. So when she can come back and articulate that, make her 2%, her 98%. She knows not what she speaks of. She says stuff because she is condensing the reality. She's a bigot and she doesn't want to face the reality. And she mad, and so she's running to Trump or running anybody that says we shouldn't feel guilty or nothing. And they try to say, well, you're no woke, or they try to say, oh, why this, why that? But yet they throw it back in your face every chance they get. They want to have Confederate flags, they want to have Confederate statues, they want to have people that lost, and they want to have people that they want to hang on to something that is legally wrong, morally corrupt, and tragically sad. But that's how they identify. That's how they signify. So if she gets called out for the racist trash she is, I have no problem with it. And Donald Trump's right there with her and all that, all that. All this is distraction. If people had any morals, they'd be saying, well, what about the Epstein files? What about something that has some merit? Not some stuff that you can just kind of throw up there and just hope that you don't see what's going on. But that's the kind of fakery we dealing with, the kind of psych jobs, the kind of downplay, deflect, try to, you know. So that's what we dealing with. And some people don't mind the hoodwink. So if you don't mind the hoodwink, he's your perfect president. And she's one of your perfect speakers. However, if you know that and you smell the funk and the stank that's there, and you calling it out on the meter, well, you know how I feel about it. Okay, so we gotta get some conversation going. It's getting quiet here. Oh, they're connected to reality. They connected because of privilege. Shoot, they know what's up. It's just the mental illness that's been legalized. That's all. You see, if you get to play like you don't know what's up, you get to walk around with blind filters on, you will do it. Because if they ever told the truth, the privilege would be at stake. They know good and well they need to come up off of that. They get off that money and they get off them buildings and stop acting like you own everything. And I don't want nobody poor mouthing when you live in a country where everybody that you built the White House off of black labor, those college educated students, those buildings off of black labor, Wall Street. So all that stuff, all of it. If there's any businesses that been established in the United States before 1964, they were bigot based because they were able to indoctrinate and do what they wanted to do before the Civil Rights Bill was initiated. So let that sink in. And modern buildings too. She just said stuff because that's the kind of logic that she wants to try to imply. Like if people like yourself won't go and investigate and call her out on her BS, that's what she's doing. I don't pay Julian Michaels no mind. What is her profession besides being a broke uh or a broke uh athletic, so-called guru of physique, Tony Robbins, like a female part athlete, part motivational speaker. What does she do? Not much. She's a no talented hack. And so she's saying this stuff to try to dignify, you know. They don't like the fact that there are black people like myself will call out and say, hey, we deserve reparations. We need to talk about the genocide that y'all created and why we still have to make our voices count because we're not heard. Oh, because they want a war. That's what that's about. They want a war. If they didn't want a war, they'd be wanting peace. They don't want no peace. That's why you keep bringing in Archie Bunker types. People bend you over and spank you, and they keep bringing the same type, same type. No matter what the party is. And let me get that straight. This ain't just a Trump thing because Joe Biden was no better because the crime bill. Bill Clinton, no better, the crime bill. Bush Jr., no better. Okay? It's not like these people. It's like it don't make no difference what the party is. It's not our party. I keep trying to tell people all the time. It's like Diddy parties. I don't mess with those. Folks is bought and paid for. There's like 6 or 7 people who own everything, and they all bought and paid for, and they all got kissed the ring. They benefited off the pain and suffering off a race of people. Because let's just play. Let me get Julian Michaels in the room if I can. Let's just work from the 60s. Let's just act like 63 on back to 1865 and 1776 didn't count because it really didn't. In 1776, when they bought themselves from Britain, they were still black folks that were slaves. And as a matter of fact, Britain still had slaves up until 1833. And the Emancipation Proclamation 1865. Went until 1964 that you could legally vote in certain places. Don't let Jackie Robinson all that fool you. So there wasn't no protection. We didn't get so-called protection till like what, 61 years ago? So how can you say that you've been fully embraced? You can't. Civil to vote, 65. To marry who you want to marry. And Julian Michaels with a black child would have definitely caught some eyes and some words and some other things until it was 67. I'm just trying to keep it 100. See, so I am not even trying to dignify what she's putting down because she doesn't even know the half of what she says. And she's saying it because she's hoping that she's singing from white anger and guilt. That's what's up. She know good and well she's been privileged. She know good and well that what she says is what's, is told. Play your role. Know your role, play your role. Because if she ever told the truth, which she don't, you know. But that's what's up. Okay, let's get some questions in. It's getting real quiet again. I thought I had a pretty hot day going on. They still do. They still do. Because we've been the one that has thrived despite it all. You can't find another group of people in spite of who still found a way to make a name in spite of the ugliest chapter in American history. Let that sink in. The ugliest chapter. You can't find another chapter that rivals it, not in America, not on the land, not on the land. And told to feel like you're inferior too. Made you to feel inferior. So that's what we're dealing with. Okay, let's get some conversation going. Cause if I don't see no fingers moving, I'm gonna curve it. I need some commentary. Anybody out there, feel free. I imagine the people that are saying no aren't enlightened and they really don't care about us. And I'm gonna say it like that because if you're enlightened and you care about us, you know good and well we deserve reparations. You know, because he admitted it. And I really don't spend a lot of time thinking about him. Okay, to let you know, the cat was a third tier actor who really had no direction. He was trying to draw attention, and his story just didn't add up. You almost think that he was bought and paid to say that. You know, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there was something behind that. That's how you know he ain't that good of an actor because it didn't sound that convincing off the get-go. Two occasions in a blowout. Always was a nice Hallmark song, but two occasions hits more. And I've been going through my babyface phase lately. I've been listening to a lot of babyface production. So, what's happening, Dakota? How you living? Shouldn't you? No. And when you say greatest pro athlete in terms of physical attributes, he didn't play in full both sports. He was a great football player and a really good baseball player. Bo was a better. Bo had a better, more impact. But for Dion would tell you that. Dion would tell you that. He did good in baseball. He made himself into a good, but he wasn't a natural like Bo. Come on now. I saw Bo. And believe me, if the careers had a panned out where he gets to do both and Dion does both, Bo blows him away. Blows him away. Blow him away as a baseball player. And what he could have done as a football player, it would have been a real, real close battle. But Bo was a better all around athlete, though. You couldn't do what Bo did. Okay, let's get some comments going so I can see some folks coming. I told people said I was coming back today, so. Oh, come on now. Are you trolling me? Look, and I like Robert Palmer a lot because that dude is underappreciated. That cat could sing, got style, the system in a blowout. Because ain't nothing beats the original. And I like Robert Palmer, but sometimes where he was doing some of these songs, it's almost like he was doing like the cool karaoke cocktail after work, scotch or something. I don't know what it was. Little soda drink jams. Okay. I like the original better, yo. I'm sorry, man. The original, the synthesizer was off the chain. Prince got a cover of it in his studio. I heard it. It wasn't much. I didn't like it at all. But he did cover it though. He couldn't avoid the system though for a moment. I probably listened to the Cure more. Smiths were popular, but there's something about the Cure that I kind of dug one, but it's not something that I really think about. You know, I got turned on to both of them in the '80s. The Smiths were all right, but the Cure hit me a little bit. I was more into that synth pop thing, so that's probably what it was. You know, but you can't go wrong either way. So that's how I would say there. All right, let's get some more going. Know you got it in you. John Cougar. And I did like Brian Adams a lot back then. I listened to that Reckless record a whole lot, but I listened to John Cougar Mellencamp. But Cherry Bomb kind of hit more, had a little more substance, and I like the vocals more. Those are kind of random though, but yeah, I was into John Cougar Mellencamp for a moment. For a moment. Brian Adams for a little bit, but he just got cornball, you know. But I did like him. I did like the song, The Wanderer. Why, wonder. There's something about The Wanderer I played. You know, Run Around Sue's big, but The Wanderer kind of hit me. It's catchy chorus. Well, it's all a matter subjective to opinion. Okay. Hmm. Okay, let's get some questions going. This is what I'm talking about. People just kind of like freeze on me. Hmm. Okay. Go with Led Zeppelin. It's interesting. Kind of an odd question because technology and collect calls. I mean, they interrupt you. Um, Minnie the Moocher. Uh, I mean, you got ways around it now because you got Facebook, you got WhatsApp, you got Instagram, you got ways where you don't have to get charged for it. So that's how it impacted it. So, so just waiting on the show. That's all. Just waiting on the show. Keep on hitting the votings and the policies. That's all. Rufus and Shocker. Because they got better slow jams than Love Don't Lift anymore. Even though that's probably one of their top 3 or 4, but I got to give Rufus and Shaka. That rawness was just a little bit more. That was one of the best ones. Neither. And that's kind of just so random. I mean, the two guys that should have been a lot more decorated than they were. Because Price could actually shoot that thing and he could play. It just didn't go out the way. And Kemp had a lot of going for him. And then after they left Seattle, he just became clump. So, I mean, but if I had to start a franchise, I'd say Sean Kemp. But that's not exactly like two guys that I just go, oh, wow, I want to start a franchise with either one of them. They each shortcomings. It's kind of an odd question you asking with that. Uh, so I never got asked that one before. In fact, those two don't hardly ever come from one of my questions. In all honesty, but Kemp is kind of like one of those guys. He may have been the best in-game dunker I've seen. He definitely got a strong case. And Rain Man was no joke. Price should have been better than he was. Mhm. Okay. So I always say let's get some. Got to be real. And I do like rocking chair, but got to be real is just you can't put that joint down. Price is right. Come on now. I don't look at them as lower tier. So let me address that. Magic thought that the Cleveland was going to be the team of the '90s in the East, and Cleveland just didn't finish out. Brad Daugherty was a precursor to Tim Duncan. Just injuries and things happen. Sean Kemp, the Sonics choked. Um, Probably Monopoly. That's a great question, though. Let me see. I'm gonna say Monopoly because I've been in different places and they got Monopoly for different countries. Bingo, you can play anywhere you go, but Monopoly's like I'm gonna use it for a future one though. But let me address Dakota. And the Sonics just choked. They were in the Western Conference Finals against Phoenix in '93. Charles Barkley and them beat them. Sonics choked the next year against the Denver Nuggets. Had that great record when the first round AC was an upset, and then the Sonics lost to the Bulls, and then so they had a good run. They were a 60+ win team with George Karl, Gary Payton, so they weren't no lower bottom. It's just that I'd say tic tac toe. Tic tac toe. We play tic tac toe. Where we going? Bingo is a fun game, but somewhere along the line, it got seen as kind of like this grandpa granny game when it was actually not like that always. So I just got through watching the Nick Cannon show with Elder Bars, Charlie Wilson, and that woman playing spades. But I gotta say, the more fun is probably dominoes when you smack the table up. Dominoes just hits hard. That's all. They hit differently. Spades, you get your book and your thoughts. But dominoes, when you can spank that table, Captain Crunch for me. I don't like too much. Cinnamon has grown on me as time has gone on. Yeah, I'm not saying they're lower tier. I'll tell how many of you pick. I take Sean Kemp. I already said I take Kemp because the Sonics went to a finals and they camped out in a few Western Conference finals. Price and them never got beyond. And the thing is that once we got past Detroit, they were the next. They didn't. They weren't really equipped. They just weren't that memorable. Whereas the Knicks were memorable and the Pistons were in the early, and then Orlando, Indiana, there was teams like that. Cleveland just got lost in the shuffle. Even the Atlanta Hawks were at least second round casualties. So I got to give it to Kemp on that one. I don't know. Just saying. I don't know. Everybody got different standards and stuff. Yeah, I like to say that. He just underachieved. That's all. Listen, I got a different. Tom and Jerry. I got a different take on him because I lived in the area and I saw him. I saw him, and that's when Derek Coleman. That's when Karl Malone was still fresh. Kellogg's, like more Kellogg stuff, and he had, But again, it's kind of like if you saw Blake Griffin. There's always these cats that come around and they would just be, and then the thing about it is that's what they call broke versions of Dominique Wilkins because the guys specialize in dunks and plays like that, but they don't have no repertoire to their game. So I don't look at them as guys that injuries or say that they just didn't play up to their game. That's all. and they were like low first, high second tier cats who, when they fell off, once you get past the highlight reel, they were just kind of ordinary. It's not like you sit around and debate. You want to, you just forget about them. Kellogg's for me. A cereal. Yeah, a cereal. I don't do fast food breakfast, so. And she went to McDonald's. I say cereal. Ain't nothing beats a good big bowl. So that's just my personal opinion. Yeah, I mean, Kemp was like, he went from Sean Kemp to Sean Klump. That's what happened. It's like Eddie Murphy just took him over. Yeah, a little cereal. Because unless somebody knows how to really cook some breakfast in the morning, cereal's going to get the love. Cereal. Most people who get up or got to go to work or go to school, they got to have something quick. So, it's you know, I'm gonna do a video about it, and I'll do it in the future. But I'm just telling you, cereal is going to win. You know, cook breakfast is more like the weekends and stuff, unless you got egos or something. But just saying. Uh, if you got the time, that's depends on what your time can say. You know, it's like if you could do French toast, which I did long time ago, but I had some crazy time to do it. Probably do. I gotta take that off. I don't want that on here. Well, the problem is that they're trying to cater towards a 5-year-old palate. That's what they want. They don't like people to have adult taste. And I think that's what the problem is. It's watered down. No, that SOS pad. I don't know. No, I don't know what that is. Oh, I know. I mean, the food's been garbage. They did this a long time ago. Shoot. They did that with the cough syrup too. That's why 3 6 Mafia was talking about sipping on dessert. And I'm wondering why turkeys would be going in the $6 Walmart. They turning bottles up. And they've been doing the last 25, 30 years. Stuff that's been sugary. It's been like Kool-Aid for everything. Spaz out. That's what they got you doing. Spaz out on stuff that you didn't spaz out on. That's what's up. So you're not lying. It's just been spaz out city. It's chemical imbalance, chemical warfare. No, I don't eat nothing like that. Uh, that's a kind of a toss up. But if you got time, you'd make some eggs. But I'd say pancakes because pancakes is more like quick and easy, and you can hit the toaster. Eggs, you're gonna sit down. They'll sit you down. So I'd probably say pancakes. I'd say for me, pancakes. If you're asking me, it's pancakes. Okay. I can't recall if I've done that or not. Okay, you gotta tell me about those. The very swamp sugar was something else. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 'Cause people looked different back then. They ate different back then. It was a different flavor. You know, like if you went to a fast food place, it didn't smell good. It had different standards. For crying out loud, if you went to a Wendy's back in the 80s, you had a salad bar. It's stuff that you used to have that you wouldn't even see today. Stuff tasted differently back then. So I give you that. I wouldn't know because like, you don't understand. Do you ever listen to my post? I'm a vegetarian vegan. I don't eat that mess. I have not eaten in no places like that. So you have to go ask somebody who does that. I have no idea. Oh man, Quaker Oats got love. Now see, this is funny. Depending on who I was living with, was well, my one of my grandparents was into the Quaker Oats, the other was into the cream of wheat. So it all depends. No, it's cool. Quaker got the love though. Quaker made you feel healthy, but cream of wheat was on point though. Nah, Dakota, man, look, I gave up a lot of stuff years ago. I don't be messing with that. I mess with that stuff. I don't eat much these days, so I don't. And most of the food is horrible. They just trying to sell you grease. I have a cousin of mine who actually told me she does nothing but imported food, and I thought, well, I cooked it, when I got on my thing, but the one my grandma used to make that Quaker Oats because that stuff would stick. But photo album, and that's a great question too. I'm gonna use that too. I'm gonna use that. I like that. You gave me a good idea on that one. That's probably the best one yet. There's something about looking at photo albums that just kind of just stick to you. Takes you to a place and you remember what you were wearing, hairdos. Problem with videos is that, you know, uh they sometimes can bring up some things, but there's something about a photo album. You do have great ideas. I give it to you because I use them when I do certain things I do. So I appreciate it. Well, like I told you before, you'll get tired. Either you'll get sluggish or you get tired or you have to like wonder why you feel like you do. I don't want to take them chances. I just mess with what I mess with. Cut a lot out. It's tart, yo. Cause back in the day, it was all about the tart life. And the thing about tarts, them joints could be hot or cold. Those things was addictive, especially the strawberry cherry ones. Strudel was kind of sticky, but tarts was like it just bended a certain way. till I came to my senses, though. So there's no knock against nobody who does it. It's either one or what you want. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I figured out different foods that would work for me, which wouldn't. So this time of year, a lot of salads and preferably just like light stuff, because well, I know it did taste like carbo, but I liked it once upon a time. Strudel was a little too sugary for me. I mean, but again, that's some stuff I used to mess with. So if I don't get the right answer, oh well, because there is no answer, because neither one of them are on my palate. Yeah. Zodiac. Because I don't know two people who mess with the palms as much as they did once, but Zodiac never goes out of style. You can listen to the floaters float on, and they'll say, I'm Libra. People still do the Zodiac. So I think Zodiac still rules. So I like how you threw that big word in there, no clairvoyance, though. Clairvoyance. I like that. Way to go. But that's my personal opinion. You gave me some good ideas too for my. I got future videos I'm gonna work on. You gave me some good ideas, especially the photo album and the home video. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a real good one. Oh, you want to be able to cook, but you won't. Singing is so singing is so judgmental. It's tough. When I lived in the South a long time ago, I know exactly what that was like. But then again, that's why a lot of us end up so sick too. And they don't and we're the first ones that have to get change our habits. I know exactly where you're coming from. Sweet potatoes was one of those addictions. Cornbread at a particular time, but sweet potatoes in particular. But it changed. But no, if you can cook, I'll take the cooking over the singing. A therapist. Psychic is too scary because you have your own instincts about people. So why would you? Sometimes you can feel it. And sometimes when you do psychic reading, it's a very calculating thing. I'd say God up to three. Say God first, then a therapist and psychic. Sometimes it's called destiny and deja vu. Well, when I used to eat them, I used to have them with raisins, marshmallows, and orange juice with some pecan nuts. That's how we got down in the South. Stir that thing up, make that thing orangey. But if you know how to mix it with orange juice and you put some pecans or some white back in the day. The things I used to eat back in the day I wouldn't do today, but that was back then. Oh yeah, because that was one of my personal recipes. Um, the raisins came from from my mother, or the nuts. The marshmallows were my grandma's, and so they used to just throw all that in there. I think that most people have an idea what's wrong with them, but this denial. But there's always ways to hide behind different shields. Being betrayed by a friend, because love is always gonna hurt you. The thing about with love, you can be in love and get hurt, and you can fall out and be hurt. But if a great friend of yours betrays you, because you don't get but so many of them, you really don't. And see, a great friend encompasses love as well, because they don't ask nothing, and it's like a balance. And that's what you actually is as much associated with and even who you end up with. That's a whole different hit. But I think of a friend. I don't think everybody knows what's wrong with them. I think there's some people that just generally have something that stunted them. What you think of it? It's not new in America. It's new for people who don't do it. I'd been doing it. It's nothing new. You ever heard of Dick Gregory, the black comedian who passed away? He was doing it. He very much American. You just ain't. You got to be around some people who there's nothing new under the sun. Nothing. Let me get this thing to you. There's nothing new under the sun. It's just that people choose to what you done seen as a generation of Xbox and gadgetry, which makes you into a couch potato. Been doing it. Because they're not going to teach you how to take care of yourself. They want you to be oblivious and on the dollar to the government. Spiritually dead. There's no question. Because physically we got memories. If someone spiritually dead walks around and they just don't have an ounce of nothing, it's tough. I think in marriage, not just as a girlfriend. And I got to tell you, there's levels to that. There's levels to that. But I think that you go through that heartbreak as a kid, but to lose your best friend, like if you had like a somebody that you just knew, like you were cool with somebody. Okay, Calvin, let me talk to you. Prince and Andre Simone. You know, Prince through all his thicks and thins and all the stuff he did. He even when he was on Tavis Smiley show, he said my best friend was Andre Simone. Think about that for a moment. And think about their dynamic. Think about all the everything that went on that. Because even though his relationships came, went, and whatnot, he said, my best friend was Andre Simone. He said that in 2009 on Travis Smiley Show. Now, this is like 25, 30 years later. Let that sink in. I understand that. That's not to say that a woman don't break your heart, don't wreck you, and make you quay quay. But think about that. You know, people by association. Like when I see Michael Jordan, if Ahmad Rashad ain't around him, you know, yeah, well, fasting is something you can do, I mean, I said more knowledge because knowledge is just timeless. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, you know how he did Andre dirty. He did everybody dirty, but he did Andre. See, I got on good authority. Andre didn't even go to Paisley Park until his mother was in the hospital. It wasn't until like the early OOs. It wasn't even until like the early O's that Andre even set foot in Paisley Park. They had a strange, only Prince world. Prince talented dude, but the cat was strange with certain ways he was with folks. That's no questions asked. Because I just got to reading the Jesse Johnson interview and everything like that, and they parted the way Prince did a number on some people's heads. And you would think that if someone took you in and was all cool with you, that you'd always have a seat for them. And he, you know, and Andre had a hand in a lot of his early career too. But that's another story. I'm not trying to get into that. But the bottom line is, well, you have a great friend. These are the people that you could trust. Oh, he did. He was Napoleon complex. 90. 90. Because knowledge is power. And I learned all my stuff from people that were older. And I want to be that blessing, hopefully in return to someone who come up and say, hey, because I always have much respect for people that were older. Not saying that 45, and they ain't hardly old. That is, when if you do all that, that's like you really didn't get a chance to really step into the universe. I'm just saying. That's all. But I think, I can't answer that question because I've already donated blood before. And it just depends on what it was pertaining to. So I can't really answer that. That's a non applicable. Depends. Schoolhouse Rock. I watched Electric Comedy, but I gotta say Schoolhouse Rock. As a show, I like the Electric Company, but Schoolhouse Rock. I remember when Morgan Freeman married his glove on Electric Company. That's how far back I go. Well, you just have to be the Lord blesses you, and also how you treat people and how you take things in, and also being in tune to who you are. There's just a lot of factors with that. But I think that you'll understand that when you have certain directions in your life. No, Morgan Freeman. He may have done an episode of Electric Comedy, but Morgan Freeman was actually an actor on the show. I remember because when I was a kid, he married his baseball glove. There's an episode where he married his glove, and I thought it was hilarious. But I was also a big baseball head back then, and I had a glove. I had a Dusty Baker glove. And I thought, wow, you can marry your glove? That's before he, did the um let's see uh the Chicago school teacher that they had the TV movie back in '82 with her and Morgan Freeman. Cicely Tyson portrayed her because Prince donated money to her and to the school on the Chicago's West Side. Think of her name right now, but anyway, she was in the Most Beautiful Girl in the World video too. Oh wow, you talk about Brewster. You going back 40 years ago. Oh wow. He He might have been, but Morgan Freeman was a star on the show. That's all I'm trying to say. I remember the Morgan Freeman part more than anything. So possible. I'm not arguing with you on that. I'm just saying I remember more for Morgan Freeman. I donated to a homeless shelter, food banks. I'd also set up a kind of tax deductible where people would spend. Now I don't remember all of them because I watched them, but I didn't watch them all like that. I watched Sesame Street when I watched Electric Company. But I people would pay like a dollar a month to stay at homeless place. Would provide food and shelter. That's be one of the ways I would. It'd be like a community thing. I'd spend invest some money, some travel, put some stuff aside, but I would make sure that people got taken care of. So that's how I would do it. I wouldn't be greedy about it by no means. Okay. Let's see kind of questions we got. See if anybody keeps on going. Keep hitting up the smashing up the likes, and people want to take the poll, feel free. Well, Bruce's it wasn't a bad movie in hindsight. Feel free. Deep question about entertainment systems. I don't know, but we'll see. See if I can answer it. I get asked about the business. I don't get asked about systems. But go ahead. Oh, coffee. Come on now. That's a like a duh. Cause chocolate milk and tea aren't, depends on where you live. But coffee, oh, if you took that out, that probably say one of his top five, top three. I liked his routines a lot. That dude was a funny cat, you know. And I'll say something that might be a hot take. He was the closest thing to a white comedian that I've seen to Robin Williams. Because if you think about it, the characters that he played, his versatility, you know, he doesn't get his due. Milk, because you gotta have milk for all that. Actually, every time you ask a question, your first one is really, yeah. He doesn't get his due. Man on the Moon was something else before these phones. Before these phones, ID players, cable, VHS. Well, I know about the rabbit ears. That's what my grandmother had. I don't have any idea because, again, now that's kind of like depends on where you lived because things were so different. I mean, when you ask a question like that, all due respect, I lived in the East and I lived in the South, and people had different components to what they had. I mean, it was not the same. It was not the same. And switches and reels was different. I mean, people watch TV differently. You're gonna put Tom Hanks in. Come on now. I gave Jim Carrey a big remark, and I said the closest thing to a Robin Williams. But if you're putting a movie in, and you big name, and you versatile, and you done had all that, you're putting Tom Hanks in. Hanks done had a better career and a better balance. But Jim Carrey was one of those dudes that he had an incredible ability for once upon a time. His was a window though. Tom Hanks got the career. And I think that and again, Jim Carrey, oh, the things you do, that was horrible. The music one where he played the manager, that was corny. Things you do. I ain't never liked his music movies or stuff like that. I didn't really like him as the Colonel in the Elvis movie. There's certain things. Oh yeah, yeah, that. You talking about that box on the cable box. Yeah. Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, the black box. Yeah, and you actually had to push it with your hand and turn up the knob with your hand. Yeah. Yeah. Depends again, but again on where you live because there was a brown box when I lived in the South. See? You said black box. There was a brown one when I was in the South because they had a Warner cable. I forgot what it was. And see, that's another thing too. The cables were so different back then. I know. Then when I went out to the West Coast, you did everything by the remote. It was different. And then depends on where you lived. You could go 2 or 3 blocks. They had a different cable component thing. I'm gonna tell you something that's funny. So I like the Young and the Restless a lot. Yep. I like the Young and the Restless a lot. So when I lived to the West Coast, for instance, if I wanted to watch the next day episode, there was a thing called Channel 10 that came out of Canada. I don't know how that came. Oh yeah, back in the day, you scroll and hit that thing, and it had that scanner, and then it would show all the channels. Yep, that was the nine. That's how it was back in the day. People ain't gonna know nothing about that today. They ain't gonna know nothing about that. TV Guide was everything. I remember the TV Guide that had Michael Jackson, Bruce Springsteen, Prince on it 4 years ago. People ain't gonna know nothing about that. Different day, different time. We get excited about a show that's coming on and at a certain time. Ooh, and set your mark your timing for it or get your VCR set up. It was just crazy. And that's where they lost out because modernization of TV and film lost out because technology, they had the game on lock. The commercials, the whole thing. So different day, different time. Okay, I'm gonna be on for about 12 more minutes just to let everybody know. Because it's gonna be an hour and a half today. So okay. Some cats had like the bite. Oh yeah. Sunday paper was my whole thing. Oh yeah, back in the day, you sure did. You did have to pay extra for certain things. That's true. You're right. Because I remember there was something we watched, and I just got hooked up. Yeah. Well, it was a different day and a time. I can't hold it against nobody. It was a different day and time. You know, different society. You can't even compare it to now. The way you looked at things, those Sunday papers. Oh yeah, but my favorite part of Sunday paper was the parade. Oh, I love the parade. I still remember the episode that had Diddy on the cover and they said he was the most talented man in hip hop. I remember that. They would break you in, though. They were heavy. I know pay per view. You thought you was something special. It's like getting room service. Sure was. Except for them old Mike Tyson fights, which was the biggest hustle scam. But yeah, if you could do pay per view, you was really impressing people. Yep. Sunday papers was something else. I read the entertainment and the sports and the parade and the funnies and the news. That's a different day and a time. You couldn't pay me to go to a newspaper today, but back then that was a way of life. All right. Look, everybody kind of cooled out now, so we'll see. Give it a couple more minutes and see if unless anybody got something else they're gonna say. Okay. All right. Yep. Yep. Well, you pray and then you eventually make amends with what you did, and then you know what you got to do. And you just know what road you don't want to take. That's all. It doesn't mean that it's the end of the world. Ask Donald Trump. Uh, yeah, well, that's a whole different hit. But I mean, there's many people have overcome obstacles. Nothing is a rap against you unless you make it one. You have to be willing to make changes and sacrifices. So I think that's the best way I can answer that. Nothing is over till it's over. And you can, you just have to be willing to better yourself as a person, make amends. They would show me the video. Yep, yep. Mm-hmm. Now, now. I liked The Wire and The Sopranos were better than Oz. Oz was cool for a couple years, but then after a while it got kind of, had some interesting characters, but then it kind of, you know, got kind of old. Teacher. Are you kidding me? I can't believe you asked that question. And I say that in all due respect because that's kind of like an oddball question because uh, a teacher is a Christian, but can a Christian be a teacher? See how I reflip that? A teacher can be a Christian, but can a Christian be a teacher? See, can a Christian be a teacher of excellence and standards? Nothing hard about it because a teacher will hold up and present themselves a certain way. I've seen some Christians do some janky stuff. I don't have no false givings about a teacher because it's there to be enlightened, to be educated, to be stimulated, and to challenge you. To be a Christian, can you be honest? Most aren't. That's not hard for me. And when someone says they're a Christian, I ask them, well, how do you feel about slavery? I ask a teacher that, I can get a couple answers. See, it's the questions that you ask. See, a teacher is something that you do by trade. A Christian is something you should do by heart. A lot of them don't do it. Oh, they've all done shady things. It's just that I think I've had more respect. I think I've had more respect for the teachers, if you must know. The Christians have, uh, yeah, it depends on the person, but I think the teachers have had a better rapport, though. So you have to read the Bible. Yes, there were, but it doesn't forthright come out to what has been prophesized with what how people have used in America and other places, and it never says that you don't change your ways. See, so what it says in one context means different things, and also in the Bible it says that the Lord welcome prostitutes, welcome the different various of people. This society doesn't teach that. So again, when you ask questions, you need to read it for yourself because you'll see the contradiction of how the world is as opposed to the new world and as the scriptures and what is being said. That's one of the things that will be very alarming because people don't practice what they preach. manipulator, easily. Thief, you expect, and they'll let you know. Manipulative person is always playing games. It's always like they got a one up on you. They're not just thieving you, they taking your heart, your mind, your soul. Someone that just straight jacks you, you expect that. Manipulative person knows how to play the room. There's a big difference. Yep. And that's the point I was trying to tell um, Dakota at the top, which is in practice on this earth. It's not. Because if that were the case, no one would look down on nobody and no one would look upon nobody. And that's what they do. And so that's the problem right there. That's why it gets such a, people are so kind of like shrugged because it what's being stated isn't lived. You should never look down on nobody. You should be very humble about life. You can have opinions about stuff and we can debate things and stuff, but you should never think that you're higher than somebody. And that's what happens when people have false idols and hero worship and all that stuff. Yes, I admire people's talent and I'm fan of their music or fan of their acting or they listen, but I don't sit around here worship at their altar. Mm-mm, mm-mm. People put on a pair of pants just like you do. And they may make more money or have more talent. That doesn't mean that they're a better person. And that's the problem. That is the problem. You can admire, yeah, but let's not get carried away. Well, I'm just saying we're talking about biblical above. I'm not again, they get taught that because it's passed down because they're people what we call they're people of the world. They're not they think the world this is the end all be all. So that's how they act. And when you think that all you got is what you see, then that's what you act. That's how I answer that question. You can tell the difference. You can always tell the difference. People who have spiritual depth, they just have an aura about them. You can tell. Things just hit a bit different. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, and again, understandable and all due respect. Yeah, if you how you hold it and the dignity and the quality that you present, that's what's up. But they don't practice what's being preached. I'd say a frame. I'll go with a frame. Cause I'll give you an example. I'm working on a video I did about Mavis Staples, the singer. That's true too. KJ's right. And Mavis Staples said she didn't want any distractions or jewelry or rings or anything around her when she's singing. And the thing about it is, when I hear and listen to her sing, you just only notice her hair. She doesn't have anything that you just go by her voice. 10,000 on the Super Bowl coin flip because the roulette table is addictive. They both addictive, but at least with a 50-50 chance, you ain't got to worry about a fix going on with the table. You know, coin flip, you got yourself a chance where you can kind of live with that. That roulette table can do wonders for you. Mm, more people would say flowers. More people would say flowers. Depends on where you live, but flowers has something about them. Paintings can come artsy, pretentious, and they'll mean that you high fluent. They had those kind of connotations for a lot of people. Some of flowers that seems more peaceful and calm. Again, that's the stereotype. I'm not signaling neither one of them. So that's not a good question for me because I don't do that. It's neither one. Neither one has appeal to me. It's not to say, but I just don't see that on the agenda. All right. I got about 3 more minutes. I'm going to call it a day. It's an hour and a half plus, and I think I'll do it. In my personal opinion of what my life was like, I'd say music. I've had great family dinners, but music. Because I've actually dealt with people that said if it wasn't for the music, we wouldn't have much in common. So I'll say the music. Because you got the music, then you want to get together and eat. They go one in hand. I never went to a family dinner and people said, let's listen to the music. Red Rocks in Colorado would be interesting. I can't really think of any artists I'd want to see. I've seen the most of one, back in the day, so it's not something that I would no. I don't even get excited about concerts no more, so things changed. Probably pocketbooks. Okay. That sounds cool. I seen some of those pictures too. I seen pictures of them in performance, so I'll give it about 5 more minutes before I go. 5 more minutes. So, if anybody got any questions, line them up. I got 5 more minutes. Please continue to hit the like and take the poll, and by all means. Trash. That's kind of random that you mentioned it. Uh, with the broke with the broke Nick Ashford wig on his head. No, no one even talks about that. I gotta wonder if that's why they don't give Angela Bassett an Oscar for that alone. Notebooks. When I'd see notebooks. Well, thank you, man. Appreciate you. I'm glad you came on too, because there's a lot of depth, and we go back on different things. I think it's because we talk about stuff that we grew up on, fundamentally having certain things that we saw. I gotta say hats, cause shades you gotta know how to coordinate when you know. No, no, not even close. I liked it at the time, but it's not something that I sit around and go, ooh. Um, the hats, cause you can rock hats different ways. Shade, you gotta have the right kind of connection, all that, and and you can really get away with a couple pair if you know how to do it. But how you gonna really come up with the right shades? Whereas with hats, you can rock all kinds of caps and hats, different styles. Yeah, you can do a lot more with hats. No, Soul Food wasn't a great movie. It was decent. It was good. I like, you know, but it wasn't. I mean, I like it for what it was, but it wasn't like no movie that I sit around listen and watch 98 different ways. No, no. Mm-mm. Liked it though. But oh yeah, Goodyear Blimp. The world is yours. Thinking about Scarface and then thinking about the blimp. My mother and I almost had a trip on there. We just missed the chance to go up. We just missed it. Driving movies. The first one that I ever went to was to see Rocky. My grandparents wanted to go see that, and that was quite the experience. No, it was one of the things, but let me tell you something. So I got to go back to you on this. Precious was pretty messed up. It was pretty messed up. It was tough as an adult. I know where you're going with that, but let me take you further back than that. Geraldine Flip Wilson, the Flip Wilson show, because he had a character in drag, and Tyler Perry. A lot of people owe a lot to Flip Wilson because Flip Wilson did that before Eddie Murphy, before Martin Lawrence, all of them. Geraldine was a character that was household. So Wilson quit Hollywood, doesn't get to do he's supposed to get, and so people then kind of don't really even talk about the Flip Wilson show because the Flip Wilson show was a precursor to Arsenio's. And you said you had sketch comedy and you had musical artists and then you had character. Precious was pretty extreme though. I think that the way Precious character went down and beat that girl and went through the whole mental jargon was pretty. They both messed up. It's not stuff that I sit around and watch though. You know, that's all. Watched them, but I don't like to talk about them because they're not something that I reminisce about. That was spooky. You never heard about Flip Wilson? Wow. Well, I understand it. I understand it because again, he's not been talked about in ages. And see, he got whitewashed. If you grew up in a certain era, you know who he was. But if you didn't, and I'm gonna tell you, they're notorious for that in Hollywood. That's if you black and you don't play ball. They Colin Kaepernick your behind. That's what they do. They Barry Bonds your behind. That's what they do. You ever wonder why we get into racial discussions on here and have conversations? Because it's always black entertainers or athletes that we always have to say they're trying to write them out of history. And that's what they try to do. That's what the Trump situation is about now. That's why people are here saying no. Mona Lisa, come on now. Thriller is big, but Mona Lisa, they always talk about it more. And that's two different things to talk about, but that painting carries crazy weight though. Thriller for me, but the Mona Lisa is bigger though. Well, the problem with watching horror movies is like when I watched The Omen and all that stuff back then, that thing I was going to Catholic school, that stuff was spooky. So now, but they seem more realer back then than they do now though. I'll say that. And they take on different connotation now. I think that's the thing. because now with the Illuminati and how the industry is and the codes and people send up, it's things that I didn't even pay attention to back then. They're there. Okay. Yeah, my mother was pretty open minded too. We went to go see Scarface together. That was crazy. You couldn't imagine that family time. And I had one of the biggest bowls of popcorn you could imagine. I got sick the next day. Big old tub. Yeah, I did too. But I watch movies at night though. MC Hammer. Because they got bought and paid off by ESPN. They got 10%. The NFL bought 10% of some stocks. And you got to remember now with all the rhetoric that Trump is spewing, all the other stuff, they don't want anything that appeals to what's going on. They do a backwards way of acknowledging Kaepernick with all things matter in the inner zone, but they don't. Oh, yeah, back in the day, large drinks was huge. That was like Cypher or sore eyes. Especially if I could have an orange pop. Oh, Lord, you thought I was floating. You couldn't tell me nothing with a big popcorn, a large orange drink, or strawberry. Couldn't tell me nothing. Yeah, I did a video about that thing about Kaepernick and Spike. It's all politics because they don't want that thing out there. That's what that's about. They didn't want it out there before there was a Trump. They don't want it out there now. And I understand because he's the elephant in the room that they can't shake. And he's the most relevant athlete that they whiteballed and that they took his livelihood from. And I don't have anything good to say about the NFL. I watch it because I'm a sports fan, but they racist as all get out. Yep, knee high. Oh, you going back. Knee high was the joint. He did affect change, but he also brought back the old Jim Crowism because they ran him out. And they had those logos in this, and so when George Floyd happened, they had to acknowledge Kaepernick. They know deep down that Kaepernick did do nothing wrong to violate to get ran out, but they have to follow a code of code. So he got them over a barrel, and they paid him never to come back. They were in cahoots against one man, so that is affecting change. I heard people talking about it. They just don't know how to deal with it because, again, when you're black and you're free and you say what you say, it's like, how can you? But he affected the way things are to an extent. Yeah, I remember whistle pops. I remember sugar daddies. I remember nerds. That was the hilarious one. All that stuff. Like I always say, different day, different time. Like Jiffy Pop on the stove top, shaking that thing, so she didn't burn it. Popcorn and a buck, all that. Yep, a lot of stuff I used to indulge in back in the day. Love now and laters. That was my joint. Now and laters, I think I liked them more than I did Starburst. hmm Yeah, those things used to taste so sweet and good. I used to have the grape ones, and then. Okay, caramel, yo. Especially if you went at the carnival. Poems for me. But I do like some. I'm a fan. No, the Kaepernick thing was that he was talking about police brutality. He wasn't talking about the military. But let me let you on the secret. They're not supposed to even have the flag out on the football field and have it. It that's disrespectful because there's a measurement that you don't put the flag out on the field. And also, the national anthem. They never sing all the four verses. They don't sing the verses about our slaves. See, they don't sing it the correct way. So they've been lying to people about a lot of stuff. But they know these cops have been racist and race soldiers. And they know how they've been, a lot of the NFL players that they've read ones that come through. Kaepernick was the one that came across the line and spoke about the facts. It's a facts. That's a beautiful thing to hear. Poems are very deep and and they have a meaning. They have a deep meaning. Some things that you can't even sell and you wouldn't want to sell. They just soulful for what they are. So they didn't even do that till they was it 07, 08. That wasn't even something that they did. It sure does. And it's a God given talent to be able to do that. It really is. But America's for sale and they do stuff to act like they're patriotic when they're really not. Because if they were patriotic, they'd welcome everybody. Board games. That's not even up for discussion. Because as a matter of fact, video games is a whole different hit than board games. Board games you can take anywhere you go. Video games you had to adjust to cartridges, and then you had to adjust to Nintendo, and then you had to adjust to the technology and the gamers. Now the gamers are getting more love, obviously. Obviously, gaming is far more bigger, but board games are more classic because you actually had to utilize what you had, and when you played them, you utilize it. Technology thing, but it's not for discussion. I'm taking board games. Well, it's about money, yo. It's about money. You know. You gotta remember the people that got look at how Trump got back in with Elon Musk. What's Elon Musk got multiple dual citizenships? It's a business to acquire. See, you gotta look at the picture. Look at Shohei Ohtani, who's arguably the best baseball player in baseball. Pitcher and a regular player, right? From Japan. He has an interpreter. If they were so anti all this, the man wouldn't be respected. Now, would he? Your most important in baseball player is instigator. Even though gossiping is considered wrong, instigating things is even wronger because you spread more lies. You spread more lies by instigating stuff because you're trying to like bring up the pulse of somebody. At least with gossip, people with gossip can play it off. Instigators put themselves front and center and they say stuff like it's the absolute. They instigate stuff because they impose their will on it. I was more of a Stooges dude. I did respect the Rascals, but more of the Stooges for me. But no, all the money in the business is from another place. That's a great question. I got to go with Satch because I'm gonna tell you why. He's the only guy I would probably pick over Bob Gibson because he was like 70. That guy could pitch, and you'll never know how great he was. He was well. Let me tell you somebody who don't even acknowledge anything after 1955 in black folks. Woody Allen named one of his things Satchel. Satchel Paige was ahead of his time. And that shows you how great he was because Bob Gibson is like 1A. That was the toughest dude on the mound. But Satchel Paige was a whole nother level. It's almost like folklore. You had to be a Satchel Paige to make me forget about a Bob Gibson almost. That's how special Satchel Paige was. Bad. And he was racially discriminated against. That dude got the pitch when he was in his 20s or 30s. We might be looking at something else as far as the old time stats go. The dude was bad. And that's no, and Bob Gibson was bad, but Satchel Paige was, the guy was still pitching prominently and he was pushing almost 60. What's that tell you about it? And that was back in the era when cats used to pitch deep 7, 8, 9 innings. Oh, the Oriole fans, okay. Y'all swept Boston, so good for y'all, but y'all stinked on. Y'all got an overrated budget. I like the Orioles back in the day when Cal Ripken and Eddie Murray and them played. And they did pretty good a few years ago, but they spent the money and they can't seem to get it together. The church. That's not a hard question at all. There's nothing I would do at no Harvard. I feel lost in the hospital. They assume that's where you kind of be, but the church. You need Mike Flanagan back, and yeah, yes, I remember the old Orioles. They had some pitches back in the day, but mm, yeah, yeah, and about Matt Damien there. I'm taking the church. I've been to some nice churches. The hospitals usually tend to put me depressed, so just keeping it 100. It's tough to go to the hospital. I mean, I've met some decent people at some of them, but the church is where I would be, though, if I got to pick. Okay. Yeah, drug you up and thug you up and give you rotten food on top. And it's a hustle and they all, but it's like, yeah. And it's got that smell in there, so now I'm good. Okay, so I'll be back on tomorrow. I will be back tomorrow and we can talk more. I appreciate everybody came through. We had a great lively discussion tonight and thank you everybody for okay. It's just in my experiences with the people that I had as far as family. That's why I don't like going to hospitals because, you know, but if you had good experiences to you, that's great to hear. But I had some jarring moments there. The smell, and sometimes they were short staffed and they just, the connection. So, but all depends on what kind of situation you had, though. So, all right, we'll catch you tomorrow. Appreciate everybody. Thanks for the hits, likes, and everything. And uh, yeah, looking forward to it. And I'm also on other social forums. So if you want to reach out to me, yeah. If you want to reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, whatnot, I'm not hard to find. So I appreciate when it came through. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. Thanks for a lot of great conversation. We touched on a lot of topics. We're gonna do it again. Peace.